What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you part one of a sort of two-part video series that I'm going to be dropping back to back regarding everything you need to know about the upcoming Way of Winter scenario. This first video is going to be kind of just a scenario overview, going over all the key things that you need to know about each particular phase, what the server information is, what deviations are going to be available to us on this server, going through all the different event banners and things like that. And then the second video, which should be dropping right after that, is going to be an ultimate survival guide where I'm going to go phase by phase, first phase, second phase, third phase, and kind of give you an idea of the best tips and tricks you're going to need to stay alive and survive the harsh weather conditions. So before we get into the details, I have to give another huge shout out to Starry Studios again for sponsoring this video. They were kind enough to give me access to a test server to record all this footage in advance for you guys. So thanks again, and appreciate the support for the Glitch Gang community. But without any further ado, let's jump into it. So for the scenario breakdown, we can quickly go to the Way of Winter seasonal banner tab. And under here, we have all of our phases. So for phase one, it's called Arctic Domain. The raging wind and snow devastate everything in their path. Prepare yourself to survive in the extreme environment of the snowy realm. Public crisis events, Hale's moving house, cargo conquest, and securement silos will be available in the zones that are going to be open to us. And those zones are the Vanna Fjord and the Onyx Tundra. You can also reach Eternal Land if you hit level 20, and the Seasonal Goal Chapter 1 will be unlocked. So if we go to Seasonal Goals before checking out the map, this is the one that we're going to have. Obviously, we're going to get a bunch of Starcrum rewards, our normal reset token, and our typical memetics, as well as Mitsuko marks. These first ones are all pretty similar to what you would see in a phase on even the Manibus server. For the challenge one, I don't think there's even anything crazy related to the temperature. You don't start seeing some different stuff until you get to phase two. But standard, easy, run-of-the-mill type of challenges to get your Mitsuko marks right out the gate. And then for the rewards for this, if you look at it, we have here later on, we will eventually get another butterfly emissary badge. And then last but not least, we have these two new items, which I haven't gotten an answer on yet of what they're going to be. It's going to be a seasonal one-off item. I was assuming we'd get some sort of banner frame or something like that. So I'm not sure what these little rocks are. It might just be like a placeholder image, but we're going to get some sort of double reward towards the end of the season here for that as well. So keep an eye out for that, as well as a ton more, Mitsuko marks and Starcrum rewards for those higher tiers. But moving on to the rest of the seasonal banner, phase two is called Scattered Ash. Lava flows and surges, and the scorching air carries away all hope. Oh, one thing I want to point out is the locations that we talked about. So they said the Onyx Tundra and the Vanna Fjord are the two locations. That's going to basically be from this borderline right here, where it's like this Greenland grass area. This is all the Vanna Fjord Whalebone Cape type area. So basically from here all the way across along this upper ridge over to this side, in this kind of like plateauy area, this is the Onyx Tundra. So all of this Greenland grassy areas, that's what's going to be available to us in phase one. Anything up in the mountains, in these areas, anything over here in the lava areas, those are going to be off limits until the later phases. So just keep that in mind. So when you're looking for a place to build a base, any one of these starter locations should be sufficient and you can get to it. So those are the places that are going to be open early on. If we go back to the seasonal banner here, moving on to phase two, Scattered Ash. Lava flows and surges, and the scorching air carries away all hope. The extreme climate brings only arduous challenges. All of the Ember Strand zones are available at this point. The new prize pool, Depth Charge and Vulture Pyromaniac, now available with specific weapon and armor blueprints guaranteed. Go to the Wish Machine and unlock them. It also unlocks hard mode dungeons and the seasonal goals for chapter 2. So if we go over there, seasonal 2, we've got obviously our Starcrum, more reset tokens, more memetics, and then through here, even this is similar to how we would normally run it on a PvE server, but under challenges, we start getting our first new ones. They want us to run Silo Delta on hard mode. That's one of the new silos. You also need to explore, get fish and get a fish deviation, or fish a deviation from lava, so you can fish in lava, which is pretty nuts. There's going to be some new fishing types and deviation types that you can get. So that's going to be one random challenge. So starting in phase two, we start to see some challenges that are kind of geared toward this scenario. So keep that in mind. And those change as you go along, but I'll just skim through here quickly so you can kind of screenshot if you want what to look forward to. But moving back to the phase, phase 2, we went over that. But the Ember Strand areas, now we can go to the map. That's going to be all of this stuff. So this far eastern area, even this is considered Vania Fjord. So we got entrance to the raid area as well. This is the new raid location. But all of this area, Ember Strand, opens up. And this is going to be more lava flows, really hot temperatures, things like that. Ember Strand. And that's pretty much everything that was unaccessible before. Even this area actually is technically Onyx Tundra. So up to this mountain in this Greenland would be phase 1. All of this would be phase 2 and beyond. So basically the rest of the map, honestly, opens up after phase 2. So you can explore everything at that point. Granted, the temperature is going to be too extreme early on to worry about that, but I'll get into that in the second video. But moving on, phase 3 is going to be a glimmer of hope. Humanity's strength shows itself during the... Did I go over this? Yes, hard mode is available. Humanity's strength shows itself during great crises, like a spark that lights up the north. You must work with other metas to build a home. Dungeons pro mode unlocks, as well as the seasonal goals for season chapter 3. And then last but not least, for phase 4, it's the end of Ice and Fire. Deep in the snowy mists, giants of ice and fire begin to rise, shaking the earth. The north shall soon be enveloped in the shadow of annihilation. These are the Chaos Weavers. I'll probably show 2 pictures right now of what those guys look like. They're giant colossus that will only start showing up until the last few phases. And anytime one of those guys are around, they cause extreme weather condition shifts in the nearby area. And these are like massive Goliaths, like 2-3 times bigger than any of the Prime War bosses that we've seen yet. And it's going to take a full organized team to bring them down with Gatling cannons, things like that. And from what I'm assuming is once you take them down for a designated a lot of time before they respawn, the weather conditions should level out in that given area. And it should be easier to traverse and things like that. But until those enemies die, it's going to be extreme weather conditions in those areas. And I'll show a little bit of footage of them here. But yeah, the Frost and Flame event is now available, and the new prize pools, Tranquil Frost and Arctic Domain, are available with specific weapons and armor points guaranteed. Go to the Wish Machine to find out, and I'll show the Wish Machine stuff here in a second, as well as the final Chapter 4 seasonal goals unlock. Obviously, 5th phase is going to be the reset phase, where you can hang around and wait for the next season. But moving on, seasonal marks. If you did the Prismverse Clash scenario, we should be able to unlock the 4th and final Butterfly Emissary badge, the biggest one at the end of this upcoming event, because this will be the 4th time we're getting that reward. And then for seasonal info, this is all the same. This is going to just tell you what you can and cannot bring over towards the end of the season. But here we can also go over the deviations that are going to be available. This is pretty exciting because for the first time on a PvE scenario, we're going to be getting a mix of both PvE and PvP deviations. So unique characteristics featured: game mode, build a wondrous thermal tower at your camp. I'm going to go much more in depth on this in the next video. Scenario features: challenge extreme temperatures in the frozen mountains and blazing volcanoes. Work with your allies to confront the hostile environment and the Chaos Weavers threat. The Chaos Weavers were those big giant colossus that you have to beat that I was just talking about. So keep an eye out for those. Map region: the story takes place in the snowy realm in Naukot's north, where frozen mountains and blazing volcanoes create a climate of 2 extreme weather conditions, hot and cold. And then here is the deviations. We've got the Butterfly's Emissary, got the Festering Gel, Frog the Leaper, Buzzy Bee is going to be available, Fetchlot Bunny, Logging Beaver, Digby Boy, Lethal Rabbit, Atomic Lighter from the EX1 silo, Strange Doors, Polar Jellies, which I found one from a Riddle chest is how it dropped for me. Upper World Spawn, which normally is a PvP deviation, will be available. The Grow Shroom will be available. Artisan's Touch. Pup Buddy will be available, even though that's a PvP exclusive. We'll be able to get that now. Great for when we're gathering all of our survival materials and our plants. There's going to be a lot of gathering in this scenario, so having increased weight from that featherweight potion is going to be super helpful. We've got Orb Lightnings for better defenses. the Flame Essence, Xeno Purifier, Snow Globe, which was usually only PvE. Now PvP players will get a chance at it. The Nutcracker, the Mini Feaster, Paper Doll, and then here's the start of the new ones. We have the Tar Pudding, works within the territory and able to extract crude oil or work in refining facilities. So he kind of just sits around your little mining drills and can pull up crude oil from your territory, which is kind of neat. Then we have Snapshot. This is a combat deviation, can participate in combat to constantly photograph nearby enemies, increasing the weapon damage that they receive. So you get a nice little weapon damage bonus. It's like a weak spot bonus, similar to how the wolves work, but this can snap really quickly on multiple enemies. Then we have the Hydronaut Fish, can work in the territory to gather seawater or operate a water purification facility to get fish occasionally. So if you've got a water purifier, osmosis purifier, and you're pumping up your water from your water pumps, as long as this Hydronaut Fish is in your territory, you can actually get fish from him as well, which is pretty cool. He'll just be walking around your territory. Then we get into the cool deviations for combat that are going to be really good for elemental builds this season. I've actually got both of these in my base that I can show off here in a second. We have the Eternal Sun, can participate in combat to periodically release blazing energy rays, which attack all nearby enemies, inflicting continuous burn damage. So going to be really fun for burn builds. And then for Frost Vortex builds, we have the Winter Spirit. It's been called the Snowy Spirit, the Snowy Sprite, things like that. So I'm not sure if the wording is 100. This has also been called the Invincible Sun in the test server. So I'm not sure what the wording officially is going to be at full release, but that can potentially change. But can participate in combat to summon fragile frost crystals that explode upon being shattered. If you guys watched my previous build video, I used this in that demonstration for the new Frost assault rifle, and it's super good synergy with that weapon. Damaging enemies with a frost explosion and increasing the frost damage that they receive by a certain percentage based off its skill rating. So two really good elemental build deviations that I would highly recommend. Next, we have the Ice Bottle, produces special materials that can be used to craft tactical items used to make large ice cubes. So I know I said like coldium, for example, and things like that can require ice cubes to make. I haven't particularly gotten one of these yet, but I'm curious if these large ice cubes will be able to be used similar to how these small ice cubes are, so you can passively be getting them hopefully potentially early on, so you don't even need to worry about phase 2 for a refrigerator to get ice cubes. So that could be one way to generate it there. And then last but not least, we have the Night Watch Lamp. This is another territory deviation, will be good for when you're doing your territory purifications. Works within the territory to guard it, and its light can paralyze enemies. So it's like a little, one of those paralyzing light enemies, like deviants, but it's like a kid version, a teenager, and he's got a bunch of those lights all on his hands. Maybe I'll show an image here. And he just teleports, or not teleports, but walks around your territory, similar to how the Nutcracker would, and just paralyzes and turns enemies to stone. So that's a pretty cool way to slow some enemies down if you have him running. So those are all the deviations that we're going to have to look forward to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new deviations that we're going to be able to grab that we've never had access to before. So really excited to hunt all these down, but those are the ones you have to look forward to. The last thing I can show off is these seasonal tags. This is saying that there's going to be void and regen anomaly enemies. Personally, in the different runs that I ran, I have not seen one yet. And the other reason I'm wondering if this might just be a bug in what we're seeing in the test server is because it has the Wish Machine blueprint for Jaws and the Shaman Vulture Top again. But if we go over to the Wish Machine, which can be the next thing I show off for the season information, you'll notice that the blueprints we have don't include the Jaws blueprint. So unless we're missing some, this test server has all the way up to the final phase right now. You would assume all of them would be here. That is not on there. So I think that that particular page for the seasonal tags might be off on the test server. But what I'm seeing live on the Wish Machine right now, these are the cards that we're going to be able to roll on. We have the typical the long-awaited and Echoes from the Rift, which are generic ones that just give you a little bit of everything, and the long-awaited is going to be your discounted one. But then we're also going to be getting the Huntsman Gunner. This will have the Wrath of Hades and the Predator LMG for fast gunner builds. Then we have Oasis Gunner, which has a very good mask for fast gunner builds, as well as the Barbecue Gloves, not a bad glove to get for burn builds. And then last but not least, we have the Frost Domain Frost Tactical Vest is going to be amazing if you're running a Icy Rain build for your elemental build. And then the legendary you can get is going to be the Snow Camouflage Gloves. I went over these in my previous video about weapons and armor. That is a really cool one that works really well with the new Frost Assault Rifle to generate ice crystals and things like that. So you could potentially be guaranteed to roll that if you don't have Frost Tactical Vest. This would be a really good one to get a guaranteed roll on one of the new armor pieces. So that is what you can get from the wish machine for this scenario. And as for ones that you can buy straight up, every single gun and piece of armor from what I've seen can be purchased with the exception of the purple autumn equinox. I believe that drops from a mysterious chest blueprint from just clearing out one of the key settlements, but the rest can be bought. So under shotguns, you can see we have the pyroclasm. SMGs didn't get anything new. Rifles, you can get the silent Anabasis, but no eternal equinox. So that's going to be the blueprint. Sniper rifles stayed the same. Light machine guns, you can buy straight up. The conflicting memories. Crossbows stayed the same, and the heavy weapons stayed the same. Key gear pieces, you can get the fire rune boots that we went over, as well as the camouflage gloves straight up if you want to buy them. And then for the weapon blueprint based armor, these should all be the same as well. Moving on to here, the Blackstone set, we went over that. This can be bought straight up. That's one of the new full legendary armor sets. The purple set that is new is going to be the Snow Panther set, I believe. And those will be dropped from mysterious chests throughout the settlements as well. So anything that's purple related pretty much for the scenario is going to be from those mysterious chests. But all the golds, with the exception of the Equinox, because it's purple, will be able to be purchased straight up from the wish machine as well if you want, which personally, that's pretty much what I've done every time. And I did the calculations. There's basically, if you want to get the full 4-piece bonus from the main set, that's 4 new pieces, 3 new legendary guns that you would have to buy, as well as 2 new key items. And if you were to buy every single one of those, 4 of the key set new armor piece, all 3 guns, and the 2 key items, it comes to 64,000 Starcrum total. So if you want to get everything that's new, you're going to have 64,000. We got a bunch from the Prison First Clash, and I didn't buy anything new. I've unlocked pretty much everything else. So I've got about 50 or so saved up. So I'm really close myself. I should be able to, after like maybe 1 or 2 weeks, get all this new stuff on my account. But that is ultimately, for those that were curious, what the total cost would be to unlock everything you would need to get every new piece that's been being added in the Way of Winter. So that is the Wish Machine. Is there anything else that I can go over that won't be covered in my next video? I think that should be it. We're going to be getting a couple new public events, which are pretty fun. I was able to test those out. And then again, those big Colossus don't show up really until the later phases, but they get crazy. You're going to need a big group. It's kind of like a mini Prime War event. You're going to need Gatling cannons, things like that to take them down. But yeah, it's all in all going to be a really fun scenario. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be a nice change of pace, brand new environment, longer season, so it's not going to be rushed, in my opinion. Give us time to explore everything, the new riddle locations, the new attachments. There's some new attachments for guns, things like that. So yeah, all in all, it's going to be a much better turnout, I think, than the Prison vs. Clash scenario. I'm looking forward to it. I've always been more of a PvE person myself anyways. So yeah, hopefully you guys found this exciting and are looking forward to it. If you did, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. I appreciate all of your guys' feedback. Also, if you want to keep up to date with my future content, including my Ultimate Survival Guide, which is going to be coming out here shortly, consider subscribing and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of the alerts. And then last but not least, if you want to join a killer community of like-minded gamers, feel free to check the links down in the description and join us on the Discord. We've got over 1,000 members in there now, many of which are playing Once Human. So hopefully you jump in and we see you guys around here soon. But until the next one, hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you all later.